Hey y'all, and welcome to the Hillbilly Chicken Ranch. I'm Susan, your hostess, and today we're in my kitchen. Yay! No thrifty fun today. We did not go thrift store shopping last week, so we're here today doing some good old-fashioned Southern cooking. These recipes are from scratch, so I'm going to add the hashtag 1896 Fannie Farmer recipes. Even though these recipes are not found in the Fannie Farmer Cookbook, these are family favorites. So the first recipe will be homemade buttermilk biscuits, and it's almost completely homemade. I'm using self-rising flour in place of the all-purpose flour, baking powder, and baking soda. And for the best part of this video, you want to stick around till the end because I'm going to be making some chocolate gravy. Yes, I said chocolate gravy. This is a breakfast staple in the South. It can be served at lunch, supper. It can be served as a dessert. It is that good. The recipe I'm using for the chocolate gravy comes out of Miss Lori's cookbook. That's Whippoorwill Holler Blessed Table. I will put a link to her in the description box below because this is a great cookbook and it's affordable if she still has them in stock. Sometimes they're on back order, so you have to be patient. She tells you how to order the books on some of her videos. So the recipe is found on page 45. It's right there, chocolate gravy. We're going to be doing that recipe and my favorite biscuits. Start with 2 cups of flour. Now you would use 2 cups of all-purpose flour with 1 teaspoon of salt, 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda. If you were making it from scratch, or you could use baking powder, whichever one you prefer. I'm going to go ahead and get it into my sifter. I like my flour sifted for my biscuits. It just makes them a little bit lighter and fluffier, in my humble opinion. So we're just going to get this into the sifter and get it mixed up. Plus, there's just something fun about using an old-fashioned sifter, y'all. Okay, I know I'm a little noisy. Y'all forgive me. Okay, I can move that out of the way. I'm going to just wipe off my spoon, and we're going to put in 6 tablespoons of butter. Now you want it cold, but not completely cold. And you can use bacon fat, or you can use shortening. I'm using homemade churned butter. So that is done. I'm going to put this butter up, get it out of my way. I'm using a dough cutter, but you can use a fork as well. You want to coat your butter, and then you want to start breaking that butter up into your flour. You want fine, not real fine, but you want your clumps to be broken up pretty good. Okay, I get rid of that. I'm going to show you what it looks like. So it looks like that. Now, you want some buttermilk or milk. You can use either one. This is homemade buttermilk from curdled cream. And y'all, this stuff is so good. You would not believe how good it is. I do shake it up. And I want you to see how beautiful this is. Coming out, it is so creamy. You're going to use about a cup of your buttermilk. Cover that back up. You make a well in the middle of your flour and you pour your buttermilk into that well. I'm going to grab a spoon. Well, I said I'm going to grab a spoon. Excuse my arms and reaching. Okay, so you're just going to kind of fold this into that buttermilk until it forms a ball. And you probably will have to get in here with your hands at some point. My grandmother always kept a piece of her biscuit dough back. She had a dough board, and she would keep it covered with a cloth, keep it in the dark. And every time she made biscuits, she'd use that little piece of dough that she held back because it had fermented and had all those good bacteria in there to help the bread rise. And that bread was always the best tasting bread. She'd make enough biscuits to last through supper and sometimes the breakfast the next day. And if you wanted a snack, there was always fresh molasses and butter on the table, or some homemade jelly or jam and homemade butter to really make it taste delicious. So I'm going to get in here with my hand for just a minute. It's going to be a little bit on the sticky side, but you want it to come together in a ball, kind of like that. I'm going to get my hands cleaned up. We're going to get this rolled out and get it into our pan. Okay, I pulled out a piece of parchment paper. I'm going to put some flour on this board, spread it around, and then I'm going to put a little bit over here to dip my ring in. And I'm getting flour all over me, y'all. So you're going to put your dough out on your board. I'm going to grab a little bit of this flour and sprinkle over the top. May need a little more flour out of my jar. We'll see. I'm going to flip it over, make sure it's good and floured. I'm going to flour my rolling pin. And we're going to roll this dough. And we're going to fold. So I usually fold it about 4 times. I'm going to add some more flour to it because I don't want it sticking to my rolling pin. And my rolling pin looks like it needs a little more flour on it as well. So I'm going to do this 2 or 3 times, and then I'm going to cut my biscuits. The idea is to get it layered. And I'm going to need a little more flour on my board. This is how you get flaky biscuits, y'all. So I'm going to cut my biscuits now. like so. It's about a 1/2 inch. I'm using a smaller cutter. You can use a bigger cutter if you want bigger biscuits. But I wanted small biscuits today. I'm going to roll this dough up again and go ahead and get it layered. I'm going to add a little more flour. Until I get all my dough cut out into biscuits. And this is why my grandmother always kept a little piece of dough over. We're going to use that as a biscuit though. We're just going to shape it into the shape of a biscuit. Get rid of the rolling pin. I'm going to get my pan. We're going to get this settled into a pan and get it into the oven. I'm going to preheat my oven. I'm preheating my oven to 450 degrees. And because these biscuits contain butter, I'm really not going to grease my pan. I'm going to fit all my biscuits into this pan if I can. If not, I'll grab another pan out of my pantry. And I don't mind if I squish them up a little bit to get them in here. Some people like them individual and separate, and some people are like me and will just get them into the pan however they can. So I've got them all into my pan. It's going to go in my oven for about 12 to 15 minutes. Okay, I don't know how much I missed on my feed, but the biscuits are ready. I've got them out of the oven. I have added in 3 tablespoons of cocoa powder, but I actually added in 4 tablespoons of cocoa powder to my skillet with a 1/2 cup of sugar and a pinch of salt and 1 tablespoon of butter. And then I had milk that I had already mixed up that was, it's a whole milk, but it's a dry milk. Do you see the white lumps in there? That's from the milk. I added in 4 tablespoons of arrowroot. You can use cornstarch or flour. If you use flour, you want to mix it into your butter, let it cook for like a roux for a minute, and then you're going to add in your other ingredients and your milk. I added in 1 teaspoon of vanilla. We're going to get this up to a simmer, a low boil kind of thing, and let it thicken. So the reason I mix the arrowroot in with the milk is because it's like cornstarch, and you need to put it into a cold liquid and then put it into your skillet. So this is going to go for a few minutes until it starts to simmer, and I'm trying to break up any lumps I see as I'm working through this. I'm going to give you a close-up of those biscuits. Beautiful biscuits, y'all. And it's starting to simmer now, or it's starting to heat up, steaming. You can pour this through a mesh strainer to get out any lumps if you are using flour and you don't want your gravy to be lumpy. It's going to be a beautiful gravy, y'all. And if I feel like I need more cocoa, I'll add more cocoa to it. But it should be just fine. I'm going to go ahead and turn my heat up just a little bit. I'm going to get me a plate to plate this up. You want to keep your gravy moving, because I'm getting lumps because I walked away for a second. But you want to keep your gravy moving so you don't get lumps. At this point, if you feel like you need more water, you can add water to it and thin your gravy out just a little bit. You see how thick that's getting? It's getting like a pudding, y'all. I'm going to add some water to mine. So if it gets too thick, you can always thin it out. right, y'all. I'm going to get a biscuit out. Can you see all the layers in that? It is hot. Let me get a knife and cut that. Perfect, perfect. A little homemade butter on the top of my biscuit, y'all. Looky here. We're gonna smother that biscuit with some butter. I'm making a mess all over the plate, but that's okay. See that butter melted into that biscuit? Now the magic of chocolate gravy. Oh yeah. Look at there, y'all. Homemade biscuits and chocolate gravy. Even the butter's homemade, y'all. This is so, so delicious. So we're gonna take a bite of this. Let me cut into that biscuit. We're gonna sop up some of that gravy. Look at that. Oh my goodness. That is yum, yum. It reminds me of going to my grandparents' house in the summertime, and my grandmother would make this as a special dessert. Mm. Mm, 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 mm. Mm. I hope you will try out these recipes. I will put the biscuit recipe in the description box below and leave you a link to Miss Lori's cookbook page, or to her page, so you can order the cookbook. You'll have to write her to get the cookbook. And that's a wrap, folks. This is hashtag 1896 Fannie Farmer recipes with homemade, from scratch recipes that are our family favorites. I hope that you will try these out, and I hope that you jump on board with this collaboration. It is hosted by Luann's Kitchen and me, the Hillbilly Chicken Ranch. It's an open collaboration. It will end on December the 30th. There will be a giveaway, so you want to comment. And if you enter with the collaboration and you post a video, you are also entered for a prize. Thank you for watching, my friends, and may you be